Okay, so in another video on 2D design, we was talking about how we can produce these sort of simple line drawings. We was doing this of the fish there, using some of the drawing tools. Okay, so what you often want to do when you've created a drawing is to add colour or to add texture. So that's what this video is all about. Okay, now I'm just going to go to another example so we can see. In this example here, we've got my original drawing there, and we're going to try and work on this sort of thing. So you can see we've applied some colour here, and we've also used some of these texture images to actually add texture and make the colour look more realistic. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to add colour to this the main body part of the object. Okay, so to fill in shapes or to add color, we're going to use this tool here called bound fill. Okay, now we're going to click bound fill like this, and it opens up our settings. Now you'll see this is very similar where it says the line color here, very similar to what we've got at the top, and obviously the fill color a bit like what we've got at the top there. Because if we're using simple shapes like a circle, for example, we can change certain fill colors to suit our needs, and when we sort of create the product, it will color the shape in straight away. Okay, but if we want to color in an existing outline, an existing contour, we're going to use the tool, the bound fill tool. Okay, so when we open up the menu, we get presented with two options. We can change the actual line style here, so various different types of lines, and we can also change the actual color of the line as well from a selected palette there. Okay, I'm going to leave the line as black, but I'm going to work on the fill. Now you can see with my fish example over here, we have this kind of scale pattern. Okay, now what I've done is I've found this opens up a series of textures in the image search, and as you can see, we chose this one here. Okay, so what I've done with this texture is I right click this and I saved the texture image. Okay, somewhere where I'm going to remember it, I just put it on my desktop in this case. Okay, so I'm going to call it download to there, save that there, and now I've got this fish texture that I can actually use to color in certain areas of my fish. So what I do on my fill settings here is I choose texture, and I'm going to go to load texture there. Now if I go onto the desktop where I saved it and I look for that download to there, which is the fish texture, I can click open like this, and then it gives me the texture here. Now there's many settings over here. When we get a bit more involved with the program, you can change the sort of size of the texture, so it sort of will make it smaller or bigger or wrap the texture around, but we're just going to leave it on auto size for the moment and click OK. Now the texture is loaded into my fill menu there, and when I click OK, I get this little hand icon coming up in my cursor. Now this is obviously asking me to locate the area that I want to fill in. Okay, so I'm going to choose the body here. Notice I'm getting very close to the line here, because if I just click into the open space, it's not going to locate a texture. So I'm clicking the line, and you can see a little pink contour appears in the actual shape that's going to be filled, and it asks me this question. It says any islands. Okay, now an island is an area in the existing fill section that you don't want to fill, so I'm going to choose yes, and what I'm going to choose is this eye shape, because I don't want anything in that eye to be filled in. Now if I choose no, there's no more islands, you'll see the texture will fill into the shape like this, and it will fill it up with that texture. Okay, I'm just going to do this one more time or a couple more times with some different things. So again, I'm using bound fill, but I'm going to double click this, and we're just going to fill the eye up just on my fish here with a color. So I'm going to choose solid now, and I'm going to choose a color red like this, and click OK, and again click OK. Now this time I'm choosing the sections. There's no islands because there's no spaces inside that. I click no, and it will fill it up. Okay, now obviously I chose a different texture here for the bubbles of the fish, but this would be the same sort of a principle to fill in with the bubble texture, but I'm going to do something a bit different this time. Again, I'm going to choose bound fill, and I'm going to make these bubbles look a little bit like there's a gradient or a texture, a pattern appearing. So I can choose graduated here from the section. Now at the moment it's sort of red and black. If I want to change some of these colors for my gradient, I can choose one of my colors here and choose color, and I can choose something. I'm going to choose a blue there, and on the other side where I've got black, I'm going to change this one to a white fill like this and click OK. And as you can see, we've got this kind of gradient appearing. If I don't want a color, I can remove the color as well, and I can move these sliders around to see what the actual color gradient will look like. And I'm going to choose a radial pattern like this to kind of go from one texture to another on a sort of circular direction. So I click OK once again, and OK, and this time I'm going to choose my bubbles, and there's obviously no islands in those, so we're just going to fill these up with some different patterns there, and we've got some interesting graduated fills going on. So that's how we fill with graduated colours, with colours, solid block colours, and obviously with textures if we found textures on the internet.